Hello everyone, this is Keith from the Solo Gamers Club and welcome to the channel. Tonight we're going to continue with our playthrough of Fortune and Glory, the cliffhanger game against the Nazis. This is going to be episode 3. Before we begin, I have a correction from the previous video. If you'll recall, Li Mei Chen was in Persia and she was seeking an artifact there, and she had to sneak past Colonel Stahl and his bodyguards. Well, what had happened is I selected a search number of 3, and when I rolled the dice, a 3 came up, and somehow in my head I had the previous sneak test's result in my head, which was a 2. So she proceeded on. She should have had a round of combat with Colonel Stahl, and she didn't do that. She ended up getting the artifact. I can't correct that, but what I will do as a correction in the future is next time she is in a combat situation, a fight with a villain, I'm going to mandate that she has to do 1 extra round of combat. All right, the heroes already have 18 fortune towards the 40 they need, and the villain track is currently at 4, so that's where we stand now. We're going to begin a new round, and we'll start with the initiative phase. And here's our initiative roll. Okay, the initiative is going to be won by the white player, and that's going to be Alexander Cartwright. He has the first player marker. The blue player rolled a 1, and that is Duke Dudley. That's going to entitle him to an event card draw. He draws the card, With My Eyes Closed. Play anytime a hero is collecting glory. That hero collects an extra 3 glory. Or play to force any single die just rolled to be immediately re-rolled. Okay, so we'll keep that card. We'll add that to our community stack of events. And now we'll roll for movement. All right, these are our movement points, and we'll assign those to the characters at large, and we'll begin with Alexander Cartwright's movement phase. All right, Alexander is going to be our first player, and we'll start with his movement. He's going to have 5 movement points. He's currently in Rio de Janeiro. Now, he does have this secret delivery to Los Angeles, and if he can get enough movement points, we might be able to get him there and possibly gain up to D6 fortune, so that seems pretty good. I think what we will do is take a look at the tactical situation and see what we can do with his movement points. Okay, Alexander has 5 movement points. Now we have several artifacts that he would be able to go after. He can easily reach the Andes, go after that temple treasure. He could go into the Amazon. That's going to require, it's a deep jungle. That would require him to do some exploration. Or we can send him to Los Angeles and try to take advantage of that secret delivery. I think we're going to send him to Los Angeles. I want to take advantage of that secret delivery. So he's going to leave the port of Rio de Janeiro. That's 2 movement points. 3 to move into the Western South Pacific. 4 into Western North Pacific. And 5 into Los Angeles. That will complete his move. Next up is Duke Dudley. He's currently in Mexico. He's got 5 movement points. And I wanted to try to send him to the Andes where he can confront Colonel Stahl. He has that bonus against Nazi opponents, but he's carrying 2 wounds, so that's not the greatest. We'll have to see what we want to do with him. I think we're going to send him to Rio, where he can heal up a little bit. So we're going to send, he's got 5 movement points, and we'll go 1 into the Gulf of Mexico, 2, 3 into the South Atlantic, and 4 into Rio. That'll be his move. Next up is Li Mei Chen. She's currently in Bombay, India. She has 2 movement points, and she has a trendsetter mission. She can visit Hong Kong and then London. She's going to earn 2 fortune, so maybe we'll try to see if we can get her there. Well, she has 2 movement points. It won't be enough to reach Hong Kong this turn, but we'd be able to get at least close to that. So I think we'll have her move towards Hong Kong and try to get that trendsetter mission completed. So she's going to move 1 movement point into India and 2 into the deep jungles of Indonesia. There is a artifact in Arabia, and that's the skull of the monkey god, but unfortunately that one has a curse, and it says when on this adventure your defense is 0, so we probably wouldn't want her to try that anyway. So I think we'll try to get her to Hong Kong. That'll complete her move. And lastly, we have Grant Jackson. He's currently in San Francisco. He has 6 movement points, and I think we want to try to get him to confront Colonel Stahl in the Andes Mountains, where that temple treasure is. So he's going to spend 1 movement point out of his 6 to go into the Western North Pacific, another one into Western South Pacific, and his 3rd into the Andes, where he's going to attempt that Caverns of Poseidon adventure. All right, we'll shift on to the adventure phase, and we'll begin with our lead investigator, Alexander Cartwright. He's currently in Los Angeles. So he's going to start out with a city adventure. He draws the card Auction, City Event Social. Place an auction marker at the city. Any hero at this city may sell their artifacts at auction. Roll a d6 for each artifact sold, and then it gives us a listing of different results, and that remains in play. So we're going to place an auction marker in Los Angeles, California. So we'll place an auction marker there, and now Alexander Cartwright can interact with the city, and I'm wondering if I should take a look down at the docks, and I think we're going to try that. We have to, if we're going to do the docks, we have to do it before we actually interact with the city. So we're going to see what's behind this docks marker. It's revealed to be Fight Crimson Hand. All right, so Alexander Cartwright's going to have to fight against this Crimson Hand. It has a glory of 4, 2 fight dice with 4 wounds, but its special ability is it's going to gain an extra fight die for each wound that they've taken. They get more angry as they get wounded. So we'll see how this first round goes. Now, Alexander has a combat of 3. He's going to gain +2 for his revolver. That is awesome. So Alexander is going to get 5 dice, and the Crimson Hand for the first round will get 2. And we have to get 4 wounds on these guys. Let's see if we can do it. All right, so we'll make the roll for the first round of combat. And we'll see if Alexander can take out these Crimson Hand. Here's the roll. All right, Crimson Hand have done 2 hits to Alexander, and he has done a total of 3 hits. All right, he has a defense of 1, so that's going to absorb 1 hit. So he's going to take a wound. Crimson Hand will take 3, and they're 1 short of being killed, but they gain +3 for their fight dice for each wound they have. So the next round, they're going to be gaining 3 dice. So they'll be rolling a total of 5 as well. And we'll start our second round now. Okay, here's the roll. Okay, I got 1 cocked die here. Roll that again. All right, Alexander has done a total of 1 hit. And the Crimson Hand have done a total of 4. All right, so his defense is going to absorb 1 of those. He's going to take a total of 3 wounds. That'll be a total of 4 wounds out of his 6. And Crimson Hand are going to take a wound. They have no defense. That's the 4th one. It's going to take them out. And he has successfully killed the Order of the Crimson Hand. He'll earn 4 glory for that, so we'll award him 4 glory. That's great. All right, so now Alexander can interact with the city, and he'll start out with this secret delivery. You've been given secret package to deliver to Los Angeles. Discard while in the named city during any of your adventure phase to gain D6 fortune, and that's what we're going to do. Let's see what we get. And here's the roll. And he earns 3 fortune for that. That's great. That is going to move us up to 21. We're halfway there, more than halfway. Now he's going to continue with his interaction with the city, and I think he's going to spend his 4 glory that he has, and he's going to heal up. That will take care of the 4 wounds that he received from that battle with the Crimson Hand. And I think that's all he's going to do. We'll move on to Duke Dudley. Duke Dudley is in Rio de Janeiro. All right, Duke Dudley will start out with a city adventure, and he draws the card. Just another day in the city. City event. You may fully heal. That is awesome. He will heal the 2 wounds that he has, and we have to reshuffle the discards back into the city deck. Now, if this was in a major city, that just another day in the city would set off a major city special event, but he's in a small city. So we fully healed, and now we can interact with the city. Duke Dudley does have some glory he can spend. And I think Duke Dudley's going to buy some items. He's going to purchase a map for 1 fortune. I should say 1 glory. That map will allow him to discard that to redraw a danger that he just drew. If we get too difficult of a danger, he can redraw it. He can also discard it to ignore all terrain icons in a space until the end of the round. And I think he'll purchase a horse for 2 more. And the horse will give him a +1 to move each turn. So he'll purchase those, and that is his 3rd items. So all he can have now are 3 allies if he chooses to acquire anything else. Otherwise, he has to discard one of the items. Okay, that's going to finish up Duke Dudley. Next up is Li Chen. She is in Indonesia, in the Indonesian jungle. These are the items that she has, and she's going to have a land adventure in this case. She'll roll a die, and we'll see what the results of the land adventure are. She rolled a 4, and that is going to be an event card draw. That is great. She draws the event. I don't think so. Play to cancel any event card or villain event. That is great, and I think she's going to spend that right now, and we're going to use that to cancel a villain card that remains in play that was played upon Colonel Stahl, and that is going to remove his hunter ability. He'll no longer have that +1 to search, and I think that's a good use of the card. So we'll discard those cards, and we'll move on to Grant Jackson's turn. All right, Grant Jackson is in the Andes Mountains, and he is attempting to infiltrate the Caverns of Poseidon. That is a temple. So the Caverns of Poseidon in the Andes Mountains, and we've got Colonel Stahl with 3 bodyguards there, plus a secret base. So I think he'll attempt the artifact adventure. So Colonel Stahl with 3 bodyguards is opposing Grant Jeffries infiltrating the temple, the Caverns of Poseidon. It has 6 fortune inside of it. We can gain 1 fortune for every danger that we successfully pass. We'll start out with a danger for Grant Jackson. And he draws the danger, Deadly Assassin. Danger Assassin, glory of 5. Trained from birth in the arts of killing, the assassins of the Tugari are the most deadly in the world. We have to either pass an agility 5+ deadly test requiring 3 successes, or a cunning 6+ test requiring 2. That is tough. Well, this is really tough because Grant Jackson only has a cunning value of 2. So he'd have to roll double 6s in order to complete that in 1 roll, but he'd have to get at least 1 6. The other option is the agility test. He has an agility of 3, but that's a deadly test. He has to get all 3 successes on a single roll. He can double exert, though, if he chooses to. You can always double exert with those deadly tests. That is a tough decision. Well, I think he's going to attempt the cunning test. Those deadly tests are really tough. I do have some event cards I can use, so I think he will attempt the cunning portion of that test. He needs a 6. Here's his initial roll at the Deadly Assassin. He does have a 6. That is awesome. So we'll give him a success token towards that. And he gets to re-roll again. So we'll do another re-roll on these. One more 6, and we've got it. He's done it. He's got the 6. That completes the danger. We'll add a danger token to him. And we are currently at 5 glory we gain for that, at least in escrow. Now we have to decide if we want to try to sneak past Colonel Stahl to take another danger, or do we camp down? I think we're going to camp down. I'm going to gain the 1 fortune that we do get for completing that danger, and then the 5 glory as well. And then we will continue on with the villain phase. Incidentally, that moves us up to 22 fortune out of our required 40. We'll begin with our villain phase, and we start with a villain event phase and see what this card is. This one is the Watchful Eye villain event. This card plays on the table. All gear, allies, and common items cost 1 more than normal. All right, well, I think once again, Grant Jackson is going to use his personal library. He's going to activate that in an attempt to cancel the event or villain event before it is even played. So we'll make a roll and see if he is successful. He rolls a 5, and that is really coming in handy. We've managed to cancel 3 of these villain event cards, I believe. So that is canceled. Will not take effect. That is great. We'll move on to the Zeppelin and Outpost step. All right, we'll begin with the Zeppelin step, and we'll pick a location card and see where the Zeppelin's target is for this turn. And he's trying to get to Greece. Okay, that's up here. Let's see how many movement points it has. Okay, here's the movement roll. It's got 6 movement points. It might be able to make it. Let's take a look. And yes, it will make it there. It's going to move 1 point into the Indian Ocean and 2 points into Arabia, 3, 4 into the Mediterranean, and 5 into Greece, where it is going to deploy a Nazi soldier. All right, there's currently 9 Nazi soldiers in the supply right now. Next up, we're going to make a roll for the secret base. On a 4, 5, or 6, it will also deploy a random Nazi soldier. And they've got a 4. Okay, so they will be deploying one, and it's going to be placed in Germany. Good place for it. So a Nazi soldier appears in Germany, and there's a total of 8 left in the supply. So eventually we're going to have to start confronting these Nazi soldiers, because if we can't place one and one is needed to be placed, the villain track will go down 1 for each of those. All right, we'll move on to the villain adventure phase. We have Herr Teufel at headquarters in Berlin. He's ready. He is going to deploy to the most valuable artifact that does not already have a villain on it. So it's going to be between the Skull of the Monkey God and the Cup of Lost Souls. Both are value 4, requiring 4 dangers. When they're tied, we get to pick. And I'm going to place him in the Skull of the Monkey God location. That is currently in Arabia. So we'll give him his 2 detachments of bodyguards, and Herr Teufel will be placed in Arabia. So we'll place Herr Teufel in Arabia, seeking the Skull of the Monkey God. All right, next up is Colonel Stahl. He is deployed in the Andes, and he's also seeking the Caverns of Poseidon. He has a 3 bodyguard detachment, and now his search value is down to 3. He lost that upgrade that he had. We were able to cancel that with a card, and that was great. So he's going to roll 3 dice. Now he's ruthless. When searching, he gets successes on 3 or greater and wounds on 1 or 2. Okay, here is the roll. And, whoa, he's got 2 successes and 1 wound. So one of his bodyguard detachments is taken as a casualty, but he's going to gain 2 successes, and that'll earn him 2 fortune out of the 5 that are left. So he's going to earn 2 fortune. 3 remain. And we'll add that to the Nazi total. For every 3 fortune that they gain 1 on the villain track. Now, Colonel Stahl took one wound, and one of his bodyguard detachments was removed because of that. Now, with the revised temple rules, it doesn't say that a wound to a villain is going to make the temple instability. It just lists it as for heroes. It says that while a hero is adventuring at a temple, anytime they go into a cliffhanger from a danger, they must roll for temple collapse. Now, in the original rules, when the villains were adventuring, they would have to roll for collapse if they took one or more wounds during the adventure phase. So I'm going to have to look into that a little bit more carefully to see if Colonel Stahl has to have a collapse roll. And yes, I checked the second edition rules for the revised temples, and it also applies to villains. If they take any wound damage, they have to make a collapse roll. So in this case, Colonel Stahl will have to roll 5 dice, and he's going to add a collapse marker for each 1 or 2 that he rolls. And here is the roll. All right, he has not rolled any. He did roll 1, 1, 2. He rolled a 2, so we'll have to place a collapse marker on the Caverns of Poseidon. So we'll add a collapse marker there. All right. That's going to complete the villain adventure phase. There won't be anything to do in the end phase. We have 4 artifacts and all of the heroes. None of them have been KO'd, so we'll start a new round. And we'll begin with a new initiative roll. All right, the initiative is going to go to our black player, and that is Li Mei Chen. And the red and white player each rolled a 1, so they're going to draw some event cards. We'll begin with Grant Jackson. His event card draw is Expanding Influence. This is a play immediately. It says place a mobster thug into 2 random cities on the board, and then we have to reshuffle the event deck. It says, this is our turf now. Get used to it. All right, so we have to get 2 mobsters that'll have to get placed. All right. All right, so we're going to randomly place 2 wise guys, and we'll see where they're going to go. We're going to draw location card, and we're going to look at the city portion of that. First one is going to go into Cairo. So we'll place a mobster thug in Cairo. Next one is going to go into Hong Kong. Oh no. And that's where Li Mei Chen was trying to get to. All right, we'll place this guy in Hong Kong. All right, we've reshuffled the event deck as per that last card. Now Alexander Cartwright is going to be able to draw an event, and with his resourceful ability, he can draw 2 of them. His first one is Rescue. Second one is Just a Scratch. The Rescue card would allow him to, after completing a danger, he could draw an ally. Or Just a Scratch, play when a hero or enemy is about to take a wound and prevent that wound. Well, both of them are good, but I should probably take the Rescue, but I'm going to take Just a Scratch. I want to prevent the wounds there, so we'll add that to our event total, and then that card is discarded. Okay, that is it for the initiative phase. The initiative is going to be with Li Mei Chen. Now we'll make our movement rolls. All right, these are the movement dice that we have available to us. And we'll assign those to the heroes, and we'll get started with Li Mei Chen's movement. All right, Li is in Indonesia. She has 2 movement points. She has enough to reach Hong Kong. And she'll have to battle that mobster thug, though, but she has a pretty good combat ability. She's got her martial arts ability, and she does have a scimitar, so I think we'll try it. She'll spend a movement point into China and a second point to enter Hong Kong. And when you enter a space with a enemy model, you have to, out of sequence, you immediately fight that character. So she's going to be fighting those mobsters. They have a fight dice of 3 and 4 wounds, glory of 3. So let's see what happens with this. All right, the mobsters are going to get 3 fight dice. Lee is going to get 3 plus 1 for her scimitar. So she'll have a total of 4 fight dice. All right. And we'll make the first round of the fight roll and see what happens. Now she does have that martial arts. All right, Lee has done a total of 3 hits. That is awesome. And the mobsters have done 2 hits. Now she has that special ability, martial arts. She can either re-roll missed fight dice or force the opponent to re-roll one of their successful fight dice. And I think that's what she's going to do. She'll have them re-roll this 6 and see if we can get them to miss. She did not, so it's 2 hits. Her defense is 1, so that will soak up 1 of the hits from the mobsters. So she's going to take 1 wound. And the mobsters are going to take 3 wounds. We'll mark them accordingly. And we'll start a new round. Okay. And here's the second round. We got a cocked die here. We'll re-roll that. Okay, Lee has done a total of 2 hits. That is great. Mobsters have also done 2 hits. And she's going to force them to use her martial arts and force them to re-roll one of their dice. She can do that during one of their successful fight dice rolls. It's once per fight round, so this is a new round. She can do it. Here's the re-roll. And they've still got the hit. So 2 hits, 1 of them is going to be absorbed. Lee is going to take a wound, but she's going to also inflict 2 wounds on the mobsters, and they're done. So she's going to earn instantly 3 glory for that, and we'll give her the 3 glory. And then that mobster will be removed from Hong Kong, and that is awesome. Now, she is currently in Hong Kong, so that's going to fulfill one of her 2 locations that she has to visit, being Hong Kong and London for her trendsetter ability. So we'll give her a mark there to let us know that we've solved the Hong Kong portion of that card. Grant has 4 movement points, but we've got that temple there, so I think he's just going to remain where he is. We'll leave him there. Next up is Alexander Cartwright. All right, Alexander has 2 movement points, and that's not enough to reach the Andes yet. So I think what he'll do is he will leave the port going into the western North Pacific for 1, and another one for the western South Pacific. That'll put him within 1 space of the Andes, and he'll just have a sea adventure during this turn. And we'll move on now to Duke Dudley. Duke Dudley is in Rio. All right, Duke Dudley is in Rio. Now he has a horse, so that's going to give him an additional movement point. So we would move this up to 6. And I think he's going to head to the Andes. Him and Grant Jackson will do a combined adventure. So we'll move 1 into the Amazon, 2 into the Andes. And that's where he's going to do his adventuring for the turn. All right. All right, so now Lee can interact with the city, and I think she's going to investigate the docks. Let's see what's happening at the docks. We'll take a look at that token. And this time we've got free travel to any port. That is awesome. That says the hero may immediately travel for free to any other port on the board. They may continue their adventure phase in that new city, and we're going to do that. She's already got, she spent an adventure phase in each of the following cities, a phase. I don't know if that's going to apply. Spend an adventure phase in each of the following cities. That's her trend-setting card that she has here. I don't know if this would constitute spending an adventure phase. I guess it would. So she's going to use that opportunity for free travel to go to London. And we'll move her to London, and that would complete this card. And that will gain her 2 fortune. It's going to move our fortune up to 24. 24 out of the 40 that we need. And we're going to continue her adventure in London. So we'll have to draw a new personal mission for her, and this time it is Protégé. Get a sidekick ally. The reward would be to gain +2 glory at the start of each turn. That would be awesome. Okay, we'll give her that card. And now she can continue in London. So she'll have to draw a city card, and we'll see what happens there. All right, and she's got a downtown car chase. City danger chase driving. Glory of 3. The card reads, lose them down a back alley or outrun them in traffic. We have to do a cunning 5+ test with 2 successes or an agility 6+ test with 1 success. All right. Well, Lee's ability in agility is 5, so I think we're going to try that. I do have event cards I can play that would assist us. So she's going to get 5 dice for this test. And we'll see what happens here. We get 5 dice out. We're looking for any 6. Okay, here is the roll. And she has failed. She does not have a 6, so we're going to see what kind of event cards we can play here. And she is going to use the too close card. That says, play to force a test just rolled to be entirely re-rolled. This can be used on yourself or another hero or a villain. So we'll put that in the discard, and we're going to re-roll all of those dice. See if we can get a 6. And she has a 6. There it is. She's got the 6. So she has completed that. It's going to earn her instantly 3 glory. We'll give her the 3 glory. And now she can interact with this city. She has a total of 11 glory. Well, she's going to begin her interaction by paying 2 glory to heal the 2 wounds that she currently has. So we'll take care of those. That leaves her with a total of 9 glory left, and I think she's going to purchase an ally for 5. We'll pay 5. Wounds are gone, and the 2 glory we use to repair those. And she'll draw an ally card. She currently has 3 items, so all she can do is carry up to 3 allies. And this time she gets the damsel. Ally, female, social, agility +1. She can activate the card to gain +3 adventure dice for any femme fatale test, or gain +3 fight dice for 1 fight round against a female enemy or villain. And the damsel has a loyalty of 3. So we'll get out the damsel token, and we'll place that with Lee so that we remember that we have that damsel. All right, that's not too bad of a turn. We're up to 24 fortune right now. Now we'll move on to the movement for Grant Jackson. He's currently in the Andes, and he's involved in an adventure, the Caverns of the Poseidon. All right, now we'll move on to Grant Jackson's turn. Now Grant and Dudley are in the same space, and they're attempting to go for the Caverns of Poseidon. So this will be a combined adventure against Colonel Stahl and his bodyguards. So let's see what happens with this. All right, so they're going to do a combined adventure, and we've got Colonel Stahl with his 2 bodyguards there. So the first danger, we don't have to worry about sneaking past him, but if we do any more than that, then we got to sneak past him. So this is the first of the combined adventure cards, and we've got the Stone Guardians, danger ancient, glory of 3. Standing watch for countless centuries, these stone warriors stare through you with the baneful eyes. We have to do a lore 5+ test, and we need 2 successes. It says it will require an extra success while in a desert. Well, Fortunately, we are in the Andes. There's no desert there, so we need a total of 2 successes to accomplish this. And we can decide now who is going to be the character that will be undertaking the test and who will be in support. Duke Dudley has a lore of 4. Grant Jackson has a lore of 3 plus 1 for his personal library. So either way would be all right. And I think what we'll do is I'll have Grant Jackson do the attempt. He'll gain a total of 4 dice for the test. And we'll see how he does. Now, when you're in a combined adventure, the other player can exert to give you extra dice. Okay, here is the roll. We're looking for 5s. And Grant has 1 success. We'll give him a success token, and he needs 1 more now. Okay, here is the next roll. And he's got it. He's got a 5. That'll be a danger token, and that's going to earn us 1 glory. We're at 25. All right, now we have to decide if we want to try to sneak past Colonel Stahl and his bodyguards, and I think we will. I wouldn't mind engaging them in combat because we have Duke Dudley, and he has that Patriot ability, gets some +2 fight dice. So we will attempt to sneak past Colonel Stahl and his bodyguards. I'm going to select a sneak number of 6. Colonel Stahl has a search value of 3, so he'll be rolling 3 dice for the test, and we've got to fight a round of combat for every 6 that he rolls. Okay, here is his roll. He has 1 6, so we have to fight 1 round of combat against Colonel Stahl and his bodyguards. Colonel Stahl has a combat level of 5, and he gains 1 for each bodyguard, so he's going to be at a total of 7. So we'll give him a total of 7 dice. Duke Dudley is going to be taking the reins of as the attacking character. He'll have a combat of 3 plus 2 when in fight with Nazi opponent. So he'll be rolling a total of 5 dice. And let's see what happens here. This is the round of combat. Okay, we've got to re-roll this one. That's cocked. All right, this is the results. We've got Duke Dudley did 2 hits. Colonel Stahl did 2 hits as well. Whoops. That was a 5, I believe. Nope, wrong one. There we go. So each side did 2 hits. All right. Duke Dudley has a defense of 1 that will take out 1 of those. Colonel Stahl has a defense of 1. So that will take out 1 hit. So each side is going to take a wound. Colonel Stahl's will be absorbed with a bodyguard. And Duke Dudley is going to take a wound, and that's his first one. All right. So we've successfully now gotten past sneaking past him, and we can take our next adventure. But before we do that, we have to make a collapse roll because wounds were taken in this process. We've weakened the structure with the combat that occurred. So we're going to have to roll a total of the collapse level, 5 dice, and for every 1 or 2, there will be a collapse marker. So here is the roll. And there are 2 successes there. We're going to add 2 collapse markers to that situation, bringing that up to 3 of 5. It's getting 60% of it is ready to collapse. So we'll add 2 extra collapse markers there. It's up to 3. And now we can take our next adventure at the location. This time they draw the adventure Buried Tomb. Danger, puzzle, blocked. Glory of 3. The ancient tomb lays half buried in the desert sands. You'll have to decipher the markings to open the antechamber doors. We have to do a lore 5+ test, and we need 2 successes. All right. Now, Duke Dudley has this lantern. and that allows him to get +2 to puzzles. So I think we're going to use Duke Dudley as the primary character that's going to take care of the adventure. So he has a lore of 4. He's going to gain +2 for the lantern. He'll be rolling 6 dice for the test. And here's the roll. We got to get 2 successes. And he's done it. We've got 2 6s. That's enough to complete the buried tomb, earning us another point of fortune. We're at 26 now. That is amazing. All right, so we've completed the buried tomb. Whoops. And now, if we can do one more sneak, there's 1 fortune left in there, and whoever gains the last fortune gains the temple treasure, and we gain that as well. That's marked with the temple marker, and that's worth additional fortune. So I think we are going to press on. We're going to try to sneak past him, and I'm going to try a sneak number of 6 again. So we'll be rolling a total of 3 search dice for Colonel Stahl. For every 6, we have to fight him. Here's the roll. He has 1 6, so we're going to have to fight a round of combat against Stahl. His combat is 5. He gains 1 for the bodyguard, so he's at 6 dice. And once again, I'm going to use Duke Dudley. He has 3 combat, and he earns 2 more for the Patriot ability. That'll give him 5. And we'll see what we get here. Here's our round of combat. And I got a cocked die in there. Roll that again. All right, so Duke Dudley has done 2 hits. Colonel Stahl has done 1. All right, each side is going to absorb 1 for their defense. Colonel Stahl is going to take 1 wound. That's going to be his bodyguard. And we're able to proceed on with the last danger. Let's see what happens with this. And in order to get the temple treasure, we have to infiltrate a mob gala. Danger, sneak, social, mob. A black tie event, big crowds and bigger bankrolls. Sneak in through the kitchen when the staff isn't looking, or talk your way past the goons at the front door. So we need to do an agility 6+ test or a cunning 5+ test. Let's see what we've got available to us. And I think we're going to attempt the cunning test. Duke Dudley has a cunning value of 3. He's going to be gaining +2 because this is, no he does not. That was only for puzzles or traps. Okay, so he does get 3 dice, and we're going to looking for 5s. And we'll make the roll, see what happens. And he's failed. He has failed. So let's see if we've got any event cards we can use. And I think we're going to use this card with my eyes closed. Play to force any single die just rolled to be immediately re-rolled. So we'll re-roll one of these and see if we can get a 5 to continue on. Here's the roll. And he did. He's got a 5. That's going to give us 1 success marker. We need 2 more. We can re-roll now all these dice. That event card is spent, and here's our roll now. We have a 5. That is our 2nd success. We need 1 more, and we're going to gain that artifact. Okay, here we go. And he's failed. He has failed. Let's see if we've got any more event cards that we can use. No, we don't, but this is a combined adventure. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to have Grant Jackson is going to exert, and that's going to give us an extra die roll. Grant has no wounds on him currently. So we'll give him a wound token, and he can re-roll one of those dice, and we're looking for a 5. Not there. We'll take another wound. We'll try it again. He'll exert. A 3. That's no good. Take another wound. He has a wound capacity of 6. Here's the roll. He's got the 5. We've done it. That is going to convert that into a success, gaining us the last fortune and the temple treasure. We've gained both of those. That is awesome. That moves us up to, I believe, 27 fortune. And then we can assign the temple treasure to either of the two heroes. And I think we'll give that to Duke Dudley. He has the horse, and he would be a little bit more mobile. So we'll give the temple treasure to him. Colonel Stahl is going to have to return back to Germany, and he's failed. So he will come in a delayed condition. He's getting a tongue lashing from Reichsfuhrer Himmler, so he is delayed. And we did pretty good there. That is not bad at all. And now, not to mention, since this was a combined effort, each of the heroes is going to gain the combined glory of 5 and a 3. So each of them are going to gain 8 glory in the process as well. So that's going to complete the adventure phase for Grant Jackson and for Duke Dudley. Next in line is Alexander Cartwright. He's going to have a sea adventure in the western South Pacific. And here's his roll for the sea adventure. Rolled a 4, and that's going to allow him to draw an event card. And with his special ability, once again, you can draw 2 and keep one of them. That is awesome. His first one is Old Differences. Play to choose an ally in play and discard it on a d6 roll of 3+, or play to give any enemy +2 fight dice or any hero or villain +3 combat for 1 test or fight. That's interesting. Next card is Call in a Favor. Play on any hero to allow them to immediately draw an ally's card, or play to give any ally +2 loyalty until the end of the game round. All right, let's see what he's going to choose. I guess he'll take the Old Differences card. That could be useful. We'll add that to our collection of event cards, and that's going to complete his turn. And that is the end of the adventure phase. We'll move on to the villain phase. We'll begin the villain phase with a villain event draw. See what they get this time. This time we have Dark Summoning. Move the villain track 1 step forward. Every hero must roll a d6. Whoever rolls the lowest must immediately fight dark creatures outside of the normal turn sequence. All right, well, once again, Grant Jackson is going to attempt to use his personal library to cancel that before it enters play. So he's going to roll a die, and on a 5 or greater, we can cancel it. We've been pretty successful with this. Let's see if we can do it again. Not that time. So that card is going to take effect. The villain track will move up 1 step. That is now up to 5. They're a third of the way there. And now each hero is going to have to roll a d6, and whoever rolls the lowest must immediately fight dark creatures. So we'll use our initiative dice and see who has the lowest roll. The lowest roll is a 1, and that is Alexander Cartwright. He is going to have to combat the dark creatures. All right, Cartwright has to fight against dark creatures. Now, these things are worth 7 glory. They are infantry, magic, animal, and demon. 5 fight dice, 3 wound capacity, 1 defense. And the escape is not too good. It's a lore 5+ test, and that's a deadly test. So I think he's going to try to fight it out. He's going to be getting 5 combat dice. They're going to be getting 5 combat dice, and we'll see what happens. All right, so each combatant is going to have a total of 5 fight dice, and we'll see what happens. Both of them have defenses of 1. Okay, we got 1 stack die. We'll just leave that the way it is. All right, the dark creatures have done 2 hits. Alexander Cartwright has 3 hits. Each side is going to lose 1 to defense. So those are the results. We're going to have 2 hits against the dark creatures. They're going to take 2 wounds. And Alexander Cartwright is going to take 1 wound. And we'll move on to our next round. If he can get 1 more bona fide hit against them, he'll have defeated them. And as a matter of fact, I think I'm going to play a event card. And we're going to play the Just a Scratch. And that says play when a hero or enemy is about to take a wound and prevent the wound. So we're going to prevent that wound from Alexander Cartwright ever taking that. We might need that extra capacity to get rid of these. All right, so now we will start round 2. Each side is rolling 5 dice. Okay, here is the roll. And we've done it. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, excuse me, 4 hits against the dark creatures, and they've done a total of 3 hits to us. Each side has a defense of 1, and so we've inflicted 3 hits on the dark creatures, and that's more than enough to get rid of them. They have done a total of 2 hits on Alexander, and he's going to take 2 wounds then. So we're going to gain 7 glory for defeating the dark creatures, and that phase is over. We'll move on to the villain's Zeppelin step, and we'll draw a target location for the Zeppelin. It's currently in Greece. This time it's trying to get to Italy, and that's not very far away, so I think it's probably going to get there. We'll make a die roll and see if it can reach there. It looks like anything other than maybe a 1, and they'll probably get there. So here is the roll. They rolled a 4, so they've got 4 movement points, and they'll just move 2 into the Mediterranean and 3 into Italy, and they're going to deploy another Nazi soldier. So we'll place a Nazi soldier in the Italian boot. All right. Next is the secret base, and we'll see if the secret base is going to deploy something onto the board. And here's the roll for the secret base. They rolled a 5, so they will be deploying a soldier, and this time it's going to be deployed into the Alps. All right, we'll place a Nazi soldier in the Alps. So we'll place a Nazi soldier in the Alps, and Europe's getting quite crowded with Nazi soldiers. We might have to do something about that. Now we move on to the villain adventure step, and we'll begin with Herr Teufel. He is in Arabia seeking the skull of the monkey god. All right, so Herr Teufel and his bodyguards are attempting to locate the skull of the monkey god. They need to get 4 dangers. Now, Herr Teufel has that special ability, knowledge. His adventure dice rolls of 6 will count as 2 successes each. He has a search value of 4, so he'll be rolling 4 dice for this adventure phase. And he needs to get a total of 4 successes. Let's see what happens. And he's done it. He's got 2, 3, 4, 5. So he has acquired the skull of the monkey god, and that's going to move the villain track up by 2. Herr Teufel is once again successful, and he returns triumphant to the Reichskanzler in Berlin, and he's probably awarded another medal for this. So we'll move up the villain track up 2. So that is going to move villain track up to 7, and now he has acquired his 3rd object. Nazis have 3 objects, and that's going to give him this arcane lore advantage, gains +1 to combat for each artifact that the villains have. So his combat now is at 7. All right. Next up is Colonel Stahl. He is in Berlin being reprimanded for his failure in the Andes, so he'll just move up to his ready status and he'll deploy next turn. All right, we'll move on to the end phase, and we have to replenish our artifacts. First artifact, which will be artifact C, is going to be the Sword of the Gods. Has a value of 5, but only 2 dangers need to be passed. It's a pretty good one. That is going to appear in the southwest of the United States. We'll place that marker in the southwest of the United States. Okay. Next artifact is the Tomb of Medusa. All right, the Tomb of Medusa. That has a fortune value of 8. We'll put 8 fortune on there. And that is a tomb. So we'll get another tomb marker out. And it has a special condition. It says, after all dangers, you must either take d6 hits or discard an ally that is with you to get the artifact. And it has a collapse rating of 3. Let's find out where that's going to be located at. This one will appear in Scandinavia. All right. So we'll place that accordingly. And that is going to bring our turn to a close. To this point, we're doing pretty well. We've got 27 fortune out of the 40 that we need to win. The villain track is at 7, and if it gets up to 15, we're going to lose. So we've still got a decent chance to win this. And I think we're going to bring this episode to a close. We'll reconvene for a 4th episode, and we'll find out if our heroes are going to be able to defeat the Nazis and win Fortune and Glory, the cliffhanger game. Thank you so much for joining me at the channel. This is Keith, your host, and I look forward to seeing you again for our next episode. In the meantime, wishing all of you a pleasant evening and a good night.